Okay, we're going to start talking about our assignment 2.1, which where we're going to be talking about assumptions about clients and the impressions that we get from our experiences and our own personal values. Our key point is individualization of the client. And we have chosen vignette number 5, who is a 75-year-old man with dementia.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were talking to someone about the 75-year-old man with dementia, what were the things that you might assume about him?
I would think that he was very intelligent.
You would think that he was intelligent
Yeah,
because he's
prior.
70?
Well, I know that like most people who get dementia, or I've heard that most people with dementia
Oh,
are really pretty intelligent.
so you might assume that
So I would
that
assume.
he's
Mhm.
intelligence.
Mhm.
What else would you assume?
I would assume that maybe he went through something traumatic. Maybe he was in the war or
So maybe he might be
a
might be a
veteran.
veteran. So he
Mhm.
might be a veteran.
Mhm.
And what else might you? Because you're an admissions counselor.
Mhm.
So what else might you be considering about him as assumptions?
Um, I would assume. This is really good questions. So I would assume that he's intelligent. I would assume that he may have been a veteran. I would assume that maybe he came from. I would think maybe he came from a large family, or had brothers and sisters.
So you might have that he has a
Yeah,
family.
yeah, he has a family. I would assume. Um, Honestly, I would assume if he had dementia or
Hmm.
Alzheimer's, that he would like wander.
That he might wonder
That he might wander.
that he wonder or
Wander. That he
wander
wanders.
that,
Wanderer.
that he might
Mhm.
wander. So he might be
Mhm.
have a little alarm on his bracelet. So he might be,
Mhm. Or he
as an
might need
admissions
that.
counselor, he might
Mhm.
be someone that you'd want to have an alarm.
Mhm.
If he came in by himself and he was interested in it, would
Mhm.
that change your assumption?
It would change my assumption. I would still think that he was really intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that he was in the beginning stages
Mm-hmm.
of Alzheimer's or dementia.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would think that I would still think he had family though, because
Right.
I would think he'd be thinking about
What he could do to stay safe.
exactly, yeah,
Someone might
for
have
his
said,
family.
"Dad, you need to do this."
Mhm.
So, and it actually would be really good if he came in by himself because he would be like, I want to be somewhere where I can get the help I
Mhm.
need.
Exactly.
That's good. And let's see, if would it matter to you if he was colored or white?
No,
No.
it wouldn't matter.
What about his state of dress? Would that change if he was looked unkept?
Mm,
Like if he was homeless and coming in to check it out.
if he was homeless and coming in, I would probably treat him just as I would any patron. But in the back of my mind, I would think he can't afford to be here.
Right.
So
So you would recommend a different location, perhaps like not necessarily the homeless shelter, but where would an older person who showed the signs of homelessness be recommended?
probably the homeless shelter.
Is
Or
there a?
I'd ask if he had like Medicaid, or
Mhm.
I'd ask if he, needed some type of assistance elsewhere, and probably call some places for him.
Like social services? Okay.
Exactly.
To get assistance in help finding him a place that was good for him to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if our assumptions and our values of how someone's dressed and how they act change how we treat them, but doesn't change the respect that they get for being a person.
It doesn't.
And
It shouldn't, at least. I
no.
mean, although a lot of people do judge people based
Hmm.
on their physical appearance, that should not be the
It
way.
shouldn't be the way it is.
Mm-mm.
I imagine it's probably very hard when someone comes in and they show the signs that you're like, maybe they shouldn't be here. And then they show that they can be there, but that's sort of a dichotomy of they look like they're homeless, but they actually
Mhm.
have enough money to be there.
Mhm.
That's probably difficult to do, but you have to sort of treat everybody the same.
Yeah, definitely treat everybody the same. Because you never know.
That's true.
You never know.
And with dementia, you never know too, because
Mhm.
they may act a certain
Yeah,
way.
they're able to cover it up a lot of times.
Hmm.
Just by looking around, if they know how to read, especially.
Hmm.
Um, they're just able to cover the fact that they have dementia. They forgot something. Oh,
Gather
yeah,
clues.
yeah. Exactly.
So if someone says, "What's the date?" they might look around and actually not have no
No
clue what the
clue.
date is, but they see a calendar.
Mm-hmm.
That's true too. They're very. My
Mm-hmm.
mom's like that.
Yeah.
She has no clue what the date is, and
Yeah.
she'll look for a calendar.
And then sometimes they'll pay attention to you. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and your cues, because you
Mm-hmm.
could be unknowingly giving cues and you're not paying attention to what you're doing. I mean, maybe you might look at the date and they look at you and they see that you look directly at the
Mm-hmm.
14th of March. And so
They
they're
might.
like, yeah,
They'll
yeah,
catch
and they
you.
catch you. They're like, oh, okay, that must be what it is. Or they'll say the day beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
the before, and just be like, oh no, it's the 14th. And so you may not be thinking,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this person has dementia, or you just might think, oh, because we do it. I
Right.
mean,
We automatically we
we
give
get mixed up.
unseen cues. Our
Hmm.
body language
Hmm.
does. Have you ever had a client come in without like this idea of client coming in by themselves?
Mm-mm.
Most of
Actually, no.
most of the time it's with family.
Most of the time, it's family that inquires about staying here. Hmm.
Do you get maybe calls from the hospitals?
We get calls from the hospitals, from the case managers, and
Case managers at the hospitals.
normally they'll send a referral in to see if we can accept them for admission.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So with this, they want us to make a point of the key points of individualization of the client. So the things to look for are, you do look for how they carry themselves, if they can read, if they look unkept, and but when someone comes in with their family member, does that make a difference in how you treat the situation? Perhaps if the person is like, "We're just looking," and the daughter's going, "No, we're really looking."
I don't think so. I mean, if they come in with a family member, if they, I mean, because we've had people that came in for tours with their family members,
Right.
so they kind of already knew what the plan was, that they were going to eventually be admitted here or become long term here. And it's just a matter of just showing them the place, letting them know, giving them some
Right.
information, and definitely not speaking about the patient or about the resident,
as if they weren't there.
Right, as if they weren't there.
Right.
Speaking, to the resident, because they're actually the ones that is
They're
gonna
gonna
be
live
receiving
here.
the services.
Right. Because I would think that it would be very difficult if you have someone who's like, "I'm not staying here. We're just looking," and you know that the family member has already talked to you, and they're gonna that room 204 is theirs,
Yeah.
and in trying to make that person who's coming in to feel comfortable and that this is a nice place to stay is probably part of your job.
Right. And I mean, if they have dementia, and it's, I've always learned that if people have Alzheimer's, dementia, you go with them. So if they're under the person that we're just looking,
You say, okay.
then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, well, let's look at room 204 then. Let's go look at this room. Do you think it's a nice one? Just kind of go where they are.
Is there anything that you would recommend for someone dealing with someone with dementia? Maybe in the more advanced stages. Is it, I know you just said to sort of go with them to sort of, follow their path. If they're going down crazy lane, go down crazy lane for a few minutes. Is there anything else that you would recommend?
I would recommend not using the word no.
Not use, that's a good one. That's toddlers and older people.
Yeah.
No is a bad word.
Yeah, not using the word no. If you can try to just stay away from that word.
Keep things positive.
Keep things as positive as possible. Yes.
Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Let's see if we can, there we go.